So, Acts chapter 9. This is the famous story of when Saul, who has been persecuting Christians, becomes Paul. He has this conversion experience where he hears God say to him to stop persecuting his people. And Paul decides to convert his life and follow the exact God that he was persecuting, God's people. There's a conversion experience. But the weird part of the story is that Paul becomes blind. And there's this other person that enters the story, and his name is Ananias. And Ananias hears in a dream that he is supposed to go help give Paul his sight back. Now, what's odd is that Ananias knows who Paul is, knows all the really bad he was in his former life as Saul. And so he's scared. He's nervous about meeting this person, but he knows that God has called him to be with Paul. Have you ever thought about this for you? Have you ever been called to help give someone their sight back? Have you ever been called to be that person in somebody's life where you were able to help give them their sight back? There's some people in my life who there isn't anything that they can do. I will always give them hope. And I will always be in this position where I will never give up on them. There are people in my life where I say to myself over and over again, doesn't matter what they do, I am never, ever going to give up on them. Now, I was with one of those people recently, and I was sitting down with them, and I realized that they were different. They were a completely different person than I had seen before. Now, I don't know what your conversion story is like. Mine was not the conversion story like Saul to Paul's story was. Now, I feel like I'm always having to be converted and born again to this life of Jesus, but in this person that I was meeting with, I could see that they were transformed. Now, the key, I think, in this story is that there are people that we will never give up on. There are people that will do the most outrageous things and we will never give up on them. And the key is, do not wait. Do not wait to help others in your life get back their sight. Do not wait, because something very important happens in this story that we don't often talk about. And that is that God doesn't say that God is now with Paul now that he becomes Paul instead of Saul. God's grace was already there working in Paul's life, just as God's grace is working before any of those people who you are never going to give up on, before they do anything in their life that looks like a transformative conversion that Paul has. God's grace is going before him. So the key is, don't wait. Don't wait to share that grace. Don't wait to point out that grace in that other person's life. Do not wait. Because someday, there will be somebody in your life, and maybe there's that person right now. There will be someone who will be coming and knocking on the door of your life because they have been transformed and they need you to be there so you can give them their sight back, so that they can be a new person in Jesus Christ, and that they can give and be a part of that type of kingdom for others, a kingdom of love, a kingdom of joy, and a kingdom of hope, because there will be people that we will never give up on because God is already working in their life. And someday they will have this transformative experience, and we will be there. We will be sitting right next to them to remind them who they are in the eyes of Jesus. Amen.